Yo, what's up, guys? We're back with another video today, and as I told you guys, I am making another video just before the end of the day, so you're getting a late night video from me. And in today's video, I'm going to be making my UFC Fight Night Manel Kape versus Almabayev full card prediction. I don't know why I'm doing this. This card is so bad, I'm not gonna lie. You could honestly skip the prelims and skip the first 3 fights, and the card is somewhat still not that great. But you know, it is what it is. If this is what we have to deal with in order for Pahara and Ankalaev to happen, alright, I'll take it. So we're going to start from the prelims and ending with the main card. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, the first fight we have is actually, to be quite honest, this is a banger actually. Charles Johnson versus Ramzat Temirev. Ramzat is, the betting odds for this one is actually pretty close, which I'm very surprised of, because Charles Johnson, I feel like in his last couple fights, he's been looking really good. I know he struggles sometimes against some of these fighters. Like, he was losing the fight against Joshua Van until he TKO'd him. How do you get TKO'd in flyweight? I said that before and I gotta say it again. How do you get knocked down in flyweight? Like, come on now. Although in fairness, Charles Johnson is a big flyweight. I will give him that. But I don't know why the betting odds are so close with this fight. I feel like Charles Johnson, it's gonna be a scrap, I think. I think it's gonna be very competitive, but I think Charles Johnson is gonna win most of those exchanges. But I don't think he's going to TKO him. Maybe Ken, especially with the new gloves or especially with the old gloves returning. But I'm going to go with Charles Johnson by decision. All right. Angela Lee versus JJ Aldrich. Does anyone care, really? I'm just going to go with JJ by decision. She's younger. She has a slightly better record. They're both not that great, so I'll go with her by decision. All right, next up, we have Danny Silva versus Lucas Almeida. That's a weird combo to have for a name. Lucas Almeida. It sounds like an American name and then a Brazilian name, and then you mix them together. But whatever. The point stands. I'm going to go with Lucas by decision. A lot of these fights, if I'm going to be straight up honest, this whole card, one of the reasons I think this card is very bad is just the fact that there's going to be no finishes. I have a weird feeling there's going to be no finishes. Maybe like 1 or 2 finishes, but that's it. Most of them are going to be by decisions, and I'm going to go with this one by decision as well. I could see Danny Silva winning this, but do we care? I'm going to go with Lucas by decision, to be honest. All right, next up, Riquito Ramos versus Chepi Marcisco. This is actually a pretty decent fight. This is probably one of the only other few fights that's going to end in finish. And I'm going to go with Chepi. I think he's really good. I think he's very entertaining in my opinion. I don't know. I feel like that this could go a decision. Maybe it's going to be like a scrap and like a war and goes to a decision. But I feel like Chepi, he doesn't have like that many crazy finishes in his last couple fights, but I don't know. I feel like this is going to be one of those fights where he's going to get a TKO win in like the first round. So that's what I'm going to go with. All right, next up, Austin Lane versus Mario Pinto. Again, this is another one. I mean, I could see this going to a decision, but I feel like with some of these debut fighters from heavyweight, they either get a boring decision win or they get a first round or second round TKO finish. And for this one, I feel like Mario Pinto's going to do that. I think that he's going to finish Austin Lane in maybe I could see this in the first round, but I'm going to go with the second round. I think they're going to feel each other out for the first round for a little bit. And then the second round, Mario Pinto is going to push the pace and then TKO him in the first round or knock him out, either way. All right, next up, Danny Barlov versus Sam Peterson. Okay, I will actually say for this one, I'm actually looking forward to this one actually. These are 2 decent fighters. I don't view them I can't say for Danny he's going to be an elite level fighter, cuz in his debut he looked really good, but it was against a can in my opinion. Then in his second fight, he went life and death with a guy who he missed weight, by the way. And he barely got the win in my opinion, just barely. And in this fight, he's now fighting a tougher competition with Sam Peterson. I don't know, Sam Peterson's a mostly grappler fighter. Danny hasn't gone grappled at all and grappled terribly in his last couple fights, or at least his 2 fights. He's actually the one who's been wrestling a lot more than his other opponents. And I feel like this is going to be either a clinch fest or a striking fest. And I feel like I'm leaning towards this is going to be a striking fight. And I feel like Danny Barlov is going to get the better of those. And I think that he could potentially TKO Sam Peterson because he is tall. He's very skinny. And I don't think that that's going to favor him a lot against a guy like Danny. So I'm gonna go with like a KO or TKO in like the second round. All right, next up, Hunter Emil versus William Gomez. Actually, this is a decent one as well. Also, well, I'm gonna get to it later, but like we have so many prospects on this card, and they're all in the Apex, like pretty big names, like William Gomez, Hergovich, Danny Barvlov, like why, or Charles Johnson. I can't say Charles Johnson, but he's a decent name for like an unranked like fighter. Why are they in the Apex? But I'll get to more of that in the next person right here. But for this fight, I'm gonna go with William Gomez by decision. Again, William Gomez is like, in most of his fights in the UFC have all been by decision. I thought he lost his fight against Brito, but it was very close, don't get me wrong, but I thought that Brito won that fight, and I still think Gomez is going to win this fight, but I don't know if... I think this is a much closer fight, but still, I'm going to go with Gomez by decision, to be honest. I don't know. It's getting really hard to, like, give you my predictions for these fights, especially with this card, guys. All right, next up, banger fight right here. Arguably the best fight in this whole card. Nasrat Hakrirez versus Esteban Rivovic. Okay, before I give my opinion on this fight, why on earth is this in an Apex? Esteban had arguably fight of the year last year in the biggest card of the whole year, like the biggest venue, the Sphere. And what does he get for that? Boom, you get an Apex event. Like that's it. That best we can do for you, buddy. We can't even give you a co-main for this Apex card. You're getting on the feature fight. I don't understand. I feel like that they did this. Okay, this is getting into a little bit of a conspiracy theory, right? I think that the reason why they gave Esteban Rivovic a featured fight in an Apex arena, even though he's extremely exciting, is the fact that he beat up the UFC's up-and-coming big Mexican big name in the UFC Sphere, which was a Mexican-themed event. And it was also, I'm pretty sure it was the featured fight on the pay-per-view card as well. So I think the UFC were not happy with that. And so as punishment, the best thing they could do is give him a dangerous unranked like fighter and also put him in the Apex. I don't know. Maybe that's just me getting my like tinfoil hats on. I don't know. That's kind of what I think a little bit right now. But regardless, this is still a very good fight. I think that Esteban Rivovic is gonna I think it's gonna be like a scrap for a little bit of the fight. But then as the rounds keep going, Esteban's going to get like the better of the rounds. And I think that he's going to TKO him in like the third round. I actually think that. And again, this is actually such a banger fight. Why is this in the Apex Arena? Why? All right, now we're on the co-main. Yes, you heard it, co-main. Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez. Why is this the co-main? This should be on the prelims. There are guys on the prelims who should be on the main card of this Fight Night card. I know no one cares realistically because it's the Fight Night Apex. Yeah, but like, come on, man, come on. But regardless, I'm gonna go with Julian Marquez by decision. I mean, listen, these are just two bum unranked middleweights who beat up my boy Zachary Rees. If you guys know the channel, you guys know that I was a Zachary Rees fan. I thought he was going to be the guy to beat Bo Nickel. But these two guys beat up Zachary Rees, and I don't really like these two, to be honest. They're extremely boring. I just don't really care that much, so I'm going to go with, like, Julian Marquez, just because I think he's slightly better. Like, I don't know. Let's just get to the main event at this point. Like, come on. All right, now we're on the main event. Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev. I mean, this is an alright, like, short notice for Asu, and, respect for Manel Kape for accepting this. Most guys don't do that nowadays, to be honest. I don't know, especially the champions, but with this fight, I'm going to go with, like, Manel Kape by decision. I could see this being, like, a finish for Manel Kape, because he does have decent KO power as far as the flyweights go. Like, it's not like the fact he has KO power, more so that he has good output and his boxing combos are pretty good. But I think this could be a decision. I think it's actually going to be a decent fight, but I don't think it's going to steal the show with like the Hergovich fight also on this card. But I think it's still going to be a good fight, don't get me wrong. And I think that if Manel Kape shows like a good performance on this fight, I could see him definitely getting a title shot after this. Just because of how like screwed up the flyweight division is right now, because Panto's just being like most of the guys in that division. But guys, that is me giving my full predictions for UFC Fight Night, Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev. Let me know who you guys think are going to win these fights. Do you even care? I don't know why I'm going to watch the whole card. I'm joking, I'm probably not going to. But leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!